right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to yet another I Honor Me episode. This is going to be a phenomenal chat. I am just doing something a little different this week. I am actually going live from the I Honor Me page. And so bear with me as I make sure we have this going good. Yes. Okay, perfect. So we are live. And I am so excited to see you all again. This is actually episode 18. And tonight we are going to talk about, again, how to honor yourself through transitions. I have the wonderful pleasure and honor to have my dear sister, friend, Yolanda Taylor with us this evening. And I'm just going to introduce her, and then we're just going to get right into the I Honor Me chat. So Yolanda Taylor is the youngest daughter of the late Reverend O.G. Motley and the late Reverend Arlene Motley Spells. She comes from a musical family. And when I tell you she can sing, this lady has the oil and the anointing all over her, okay? They all sing, play an instrument, and or write. She is the proud mom of Crystal, Ryan, Alexis, David, and Jacoby, and the grandmother of one amazing grandson, Ariston. Yolanda is also a fur mom to Bentley and Bailey. She loves those dogs. She's been married to her best friend, David Taylor, for over 30 years. And she has actually major accomplishments, but she has two master's degrees and has worked in higher education and healthcare. But most importantly, Yolanda is most proud of her relationship with God. So I Honor Me community, please welcome Miss Yolanda Taylor to the I Honor Me community. It is wonderful to have you. So thank you so much for joining me, and welcome, welcome, welcome to I Honor Me. So let's just jump in. Let's get started. We have connected this week. I have known Yolanda personally. I don't even know how long it's been. Probably close to 10 years.
Oh, it's been longer than that.
Yes.
We met at Pilgrim Rest.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We met at Pilgrim Rest, and it was an instant connection with her and her wonderful husband, David, and her children. And it's just been wonderful. And so, every time I talk about this all the time, where I feel like I might have, reached the amount of people I'm supposed to have on I Honor Me. No, the Lord says no. And he always gives me somebody that needs to be on I Honor Me. So, Yolanda, let's start off with talking about your definition of what honor means.
First, I would like to thank you for having me on this amazing, amazing platform.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
am so proud of you. So proud of you.
Thank
You
you.
so much. I thought about
What? Let me say this before, because you're about to get good. I forgot to do this. Make sure you guys have your notebook, some water to take notes, because she's gonna speak some phenomenal gems. So go ahead. Go ahead.
well, I just, when I thought about, what honor means to me, and when I came to the realization or that light bulb moment, or I had an epiphany of what honor means to me and how I can honor myself, I was well in my, like, I'll just say it, like 50s.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I just shared with Deveray, I'm not ashamed to let people know how old I am, because I am blessed.
Yes.
But I did not take the time to really think about what honoring myself meant to me.
Yes.
And I had to really, really dig deep on finding ways to love me the way I should be loved.
Yes.
And I'm a PK, grew up in church. We love God. I have that foundation. But no one, to be honest, never talked about, as women and women of God, or just women loving ourselves. Now, we were taught how to take care of ourselves, our hygiene, our bodies, how to present ourselves, on the exterior. And but no one ever, said, this is how you honor yourself.
Yes.
Um, and these are ways that you need to do these things and think about yourself. So I dishonored myself in many ways as growing up. I did.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of bad relationships, got into a horrible relationship. I was in an abusive relationship with my older two children, dad. And the way I grew up, I wasn't used to that. So that, affected my self esteem.
Yes.
And watching, people in the church and watching some family members who did not honor their marriage or their relationships, that impacted me. So what I did was I dishonored my body,
Mm.
um, from a teen. And so learning to honor yourself means so many different things to so many different people. There's
Yes.
not one, a size fit all.
Absolutely.
Um, so I do believe that when you do learn, there are steps, there are ways that you need to go about it, because it is something that you have to learn, especially if you were not taught, if you did not have the examples. It is
Yes.
something that you must learn. So, yeah, it took me a while, Deborah. It took me a long time to learn how to honor myself and love myself in the way that I should be loved.
Yes, yes. I think again, you've said so much already of where it started and how it impacted your life, and some of the decisions that you made. I just want to piggyback that you talked about honor, and it's different for many people, and the definition, which I think is so, and that's why I ask everybody that comes on, what does honor mean to you? What's your definition? Because I think for a lot of us, it's a culmination of what we
Mhm.
were taught of what honor is and what we've seen as far as honor to other people,
Mhm.
and then trying to really define it really for what it is for us. But that's why I say that I honor me is it's a community, it's a journey. It's not a light switch, it's not a one time
Mhm.
thing, it's not this is my goal to honor me until this, no, this, it really has to be a lifelong journey.
Yes.
And I think, especially once you come into the knowledge, and we talked about this, you walk therein. And so
Yep.
once you come into the knowledge of how honor needs to be for you first, and that is not selfish, and that we sometimes have to relearn or unlearn or teach ourselves new ways concerning honor, I think is so important. And so, again, a lot of people that I've had on the I Honor Me chat, we all, it doesn't matter our age, kind of all had very similar teachings about honor. And like you said, you grew up in the church, and so taught honor, the people in the church, your parents, and then when you get into relationships, and then you're taught that. So I think that's very key information that you've shared. So who would you say taught you specifically about honor, whether it was for yourself or the church or your parents? Who would you say specifically taught you about honor?
Um, that's sort of a difficult question. I think I, I think I pulled from a few places.
Okay.
Um, One, and this is going to sound strange, but and I talk about my girls all the time. I do. I love my girls. We're very
Yes.
close.
Yes.
But my girls help me see, they're younger. They come from that, millennial generation, and they kind of, I pulled from them as well. Mom, you know what?
Yes.
You're good. We're so proud of you. And I
Yes.
started to develop that. And they didn't just start this, telling me those things, but my girls, really digging deep within myself.
Yes.
I had
Yes.
to, some things, Deborah, we can't, learn from other people. Sometimes we have to dig deep. I did
Yes.
pull, like my girls, I pulled from, people who I admire, you know,
Yes.
um, not comparing myself to them, but admire them.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I pulled from those things, but I'm going to tell you right now, digging deep within myself, like I said, when you read my bio, having that relationship with God,
Mm-hmm.
really, really allowed me to self-reflect and say, do you really love yourself? Like,
Yes. Yes.
are you really, when you said honor me, which means to me loving myself,
Yes. Yeah.
in a way that others will love me the way I need to be loved.
Hmm.
Because if we don't love ourselves, people, they can, it's like when you talk about a dog can smell fear,
Yes.
people can smell when there's low self-esteem. They
Yes.
will treat
Yes.
you as such. And so, really digging deep and figuring out, okay, no, I don't like this. I don't like to be, I don't like this. And I want people to know that. And it's okay that people know that. I had to, that took some time. It took a lot of time. And I'm still not there yet. Oh,
Yes.
like you said, it's a journey. It's something that we will forever learn. We should
Hmm.
always learn even more about ourselves.
Yes.
As we get older, things are changing for me. My life is changing. Things are not like it used to be in my 30s, and I have to adjust to that and adapt to
Yes.
those things.
Yes.
And along with that comes with, okay, continuing to figure out who I am and continuing to love myself.
Yes. Man, I think that oh, that's I think it's so like major to me that you mentioned your daughters help you identify certain things into you, because I think there are times where parents feel like I should know this, or
Hmm.
I'm the parent, so I'm supposed to be teaching you. But
Right.
I think when you put yourself in a position where you can't learn from other people, it's you kind of sometimes set yourself up for failure.
Yes.
But children are very, I mean, especially young kids. My nieces and nephews crack me up because they've always been very vocal, and you just never know what they're going to say. But they are brutally and bluntly honest
Yes.
and help you
Yes.
understand, and they can see it. Just like you
Yep.
said, a dog can smell fear. Children,
Yes.
babies, they can identify and feel that stuff and see it, and very bluntly tell you, like, you don't like the way you look, or you know, whatever, and can call it out, and it really could be a learning moment for you
That's
and
true.
help you identify, hey, they really are very innocent, and children have discernment too,
Hmm.
and they can help identify where my lack is inside of me.
Yes.
So I think that that's important to not negate or ignore when your children are trying to pour into you, or when your children identify things,
Exactly.
no matter how old you are, right? of
Exactly.
of ways in which you can see, hey, like, no, mom, like, I mean, I tell
Yeah.
my mother all the time. She was on last week. I tell my mother all the time how amazing she is, and different things that we feel. I mean, even after the show, my siblings and I, we were saying this stuff to our mother, and I think it does something even for a mother or a father to
Hmm.
even hear certain things from their children. So I think that was important. But I also think it was important that you mentioned that you have to adjust and adapt.
Yes.
Um, and once you identify that, hey, like, I'm not honoring myself in this way, or I'm feeling like this. What is this I'm feeling? And I think we kind of mentioned this on our conversation the other day about sometimes we have to give a name
Yes.
to what we are feeling and what is going on. And that's why I believe the Lord gave me I honor me. And when he told me, every time you do something, I want you to say I honor me, because we have to name and
Yes.
give it insight in order to progress,
It's so
in
true.
order to deal, in order to heal, in order to go on the journey. And so giving a name, we have to adapt, we have to adjust, we have to learn, we have to identify, hey, low self-esteem. Yeah, when somebody told me that, I was like, yeah, right, okay, whatever. I didn't believe it. But when I sat with myself, like you said, and I did an inventory of, and I'm a researcher, so I actually looked it up.
Hmm.
What does low self-esteem really mean? What are the key characteristics and factors? Once I start doing that, I was like, oh, but then it caused me to start doing more work to
Yes.
identify why.
Yeah. It's so true. Let me go back to, because I don't think we talked about this, the abuse.
Yes.
I'm a PK. I come from a good family. We had a peaceful home. I mean, you could not
Mhm.
live in Arlene's home, and it didn't. She refused to have any bad spirits in her home. So we lived in a peaceful home, and
Yes.
then I get involved with someone who my mother told me he's no good.
Mm.
But oh no,
Mm-hmm.
in my environment back, when I was growing up, it was, you get a boyfriend, you're going to get married, you have kids. It seemed like that was the only thing that we even talked about.
Yes. Yes.
And getting into that relationship, literally, I mean, I was shocked. I'm like, who am I? What is
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
happening to me? And that was the beginning of my low self-esteem because
Yeah.
I allowed somebody to physically, mentally, emotionally, verbally abuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had two little babies, and I'm thinking, oh my God, how did I get here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this isn't my life. I mean, I could not believe that I was in that situation. And I think that was the beginning of my low self esteem as far as relationships are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
It it changed the trajectory of my life
Mm-hmm.
in major ways.
Yes.
So I think that was the time that I figured out my low self esteem, and it carried throughout.
Yes.
Even when I got married, that low self esteem, um, it impacted and affected my marriage because I
Mm-hmm.
carried that into my marriage in the beginning. David is an amazing person, but I think I took him through a lot because of my low self esteem, because of the abuse. You
Yeah.
know, Women can tell you when they're abused and they get into another relationship, if you don't do the work, if you don't go to therapy, which we didn't talk about that, we didn't go to
Mm-hmm.
therapy, you
Yes.
bring that baggage with you, and the other person now suffers because you're not dealing with the trauma. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's, so prevalent today. But that's when I noticed, that low self-esteem, it followed me. I couldn't get rid of it. It just followed me. And I'm thankful, like you said, that I'm receptive enough, or I'm mature enough, I should say, that I could accept those things from my daughter. My daughter's telling me, Mom, you're not a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
Things happen. You're not the only person, woman that was abused. You're doing well. You raised us well. We're grateful to you. Those are things that I needed to hear to help me also climb out of that and start to honor and love me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a part of what you said is uh many times, and I said this actually the other day to someone, many times a lot of us have been through very similar walks of
Mhm,
life, very
mhm.
similar traumas, very similar abuse situations. However, we don't talk about it, and we don't deal with it because we feel like it's a stigma. We feel like it's
Right.
made us a bad person. It just we just don't want to deal with it. And I think that's a part of even honoring yourself, is getting to the root of where things broke down, and where
Yeah.
the low self-esteem, the dishonoring yourself, the not taking care of yourself, where that all originated from, so that way you can go on the journey to honor yourself. But again, I think I said it before, nobody can tell me anything about my story that I don't already know. Nobody can
Right.
hurt me with my story. Nobody can hurt me with my abuse. Nobody can hurt me with my trauma. I'm
Right.
aware of it. I'm comfortable
Mhm.
with it. But what I've done is I've turned my pain into purpose.
Mhm.
And I think even just being comfortable enough, and I honor you for doing that, to being comfortable enough to share your story and to share it is so impactful for other people,
Yeah.
because it's showing that you honored yourself, and you're at a place now where you've been able to identify
Mhm.
where the breakdown was, where the low self-esteem started, how it affected your marriage, how it affected some decisions and stuff that you've made, not using it as an excuse, but identifying the root, so that way you
Right.
can deal with it and move forward.
Right. That's so true. It is so true, and that's extremely important. If you want to do the work, if
Mhm.
you want to come out of that, low self esteem, like you said, um, research it, find out, because like you said, sometimes we don't put a name to it. And so yes, I mean, that a time in my life was, it was pretty sad.
Mhm.
It was pretty sad. Now that I look back on it, and I think about, you know being abused, and I mean, I know women who can identify this with this, being hit for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
If you say something, you have to watch everything. And I'm going to tell you right now that I didn't understand how I got to that point, because I didn't think that could happen to me. I'm
Yes.
the girl in church, and my
Yes.
mom is this, minister and well known in the community.
Yes.
And here I am. I moved to another state with this person, and I have, like I said, my two babies, and I'm being abused
Mm-hmm.
on a daily basis.
Mm.
It was devastating to me.
I want to say this because I think too, when you deal with abusive situations and trauma, um, it's very easy not only to have the low self-esteem, but also to dishonor yourself and almost to cope and to
Yeah.
survive and to deal. You have to guard yourself a certain way, or you dishonor yourself just to survive. And I
Yes.
don't think we always identify or realize that, that's what's happening.
Yep.
And then we're, when we're finally out of it, we're still not, we still haven't processed through all that. But yeah, I
Right.
think that it causes for us to not only again have low self-esteem, but to just that's when the negative talk to yourself begins.
Yes.
Again, I say this all the time. I honor me community. I will give my full story, but I have also dealt with abuse, and the negative. I mean, there were times even as an adult where, from my childhood, I still heard the person saying stuff to me, as an
Mm-hmm.
adult,
Mm-hmm.
and then even the negative talk, and I'm very much a realistic person. I'm not so much an optimistic person. And that was because I had to learn how to cope. I had to learn how
Yes.
to survive. And so by
Yes.
doing that, it caused me to really become comfortable dishonoring myself. It
Yes.
just it just was a normal part of my day. That
It's a coping mechanism.
coping and
It's the
surviving.
way you cope with it, and that's the way you live with it. That's the way, like you said, that's how you learn to survive.
Yes.
Um, and it does. It is. There are so many ways when you are in an abusive relationship that you learn to survive.
Yeah.
Until you and it's so sad because there's so many women, and it hurts my heart, that never make it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
They never make it out. I am so blessed, and I am so blessed, and I give glory to God, because I had a praying mom, and my
Yeah.
mother never talked bad to me. She never said, "Oh my God, look at you," and how are you, how can you get yourself into this? My mother just continued to pray, and God, not only did he move the man in my life completely to a whole nother state,
Mm-hmm.
but completely out of my life, like completely.
Period. Yeah. So
Period.
I wanted to say this too. Um, I think even when you look back, because you mentioned, like you asked yourself, how did I end up in this situation? But I want you to also honor yourself, and I'm thinking about that now
Mm,
too. Honor yourself for surviving. Honor
yes.
yourself for every day, all the hell that you went through, everything, getting up every day, taking care of your daughters, doing whatever you had to do to survive. Anybody that has gone through abuse and trauma, I want you to take a moment and just honor yourself for surviving. It wasn't,
Yes.
I mean, you have to take a moment just to honor yourself.
Yes.
It wasn't
I
ideal, it wasn't
no.
what you wanted, but take a
Right.
moment to honor yourself, because I think oftentimes we get very angry and upset that we didn't respond a certain way, or we didn't do this
Mm-hmm.
while we were going, or we didn't get out of it before a certain time frame, or
Mm-hmm.
before somebody else felt like we should get. No, honor yourself because you did the
Yes.
best you could at that moment with
Yes.
everything that was going around, everything that was going on, people saying whatever the case is. At
Yeah.
that moment, Yolanda did her best, and
Yes.
Yolanda needs to honor herself for doing her best and surviving one of the
Yes.
most difficult times of her life.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I encourage you guys, I encourage you, I honor me
Yes.
community, because I know
Please.
there are several people that have abuse stories, that have trauma
Yes.
stories, that
Yes.
have gone through God only knows what. But I just want you to honor yourself and say, I honor me because I
Yes.
survived.
I survived. Because as my brother says all the time, it could have went another way.
It could have.
Could have been another way. It could have gone another way. Um, I didn't have to be here. I didn't have to be here to raise my kids.
Yes.
And you're right. I survived. And there's
You
so
right.
many that do not
Yes.
survive.
Yeah.
And you're right. We have to take a moment when you get out of an abusive relationship. I know there are things that you're going to have to face and that you will have to, you may need counseling. You need to build a strong prayer life. Whatever you need to do to help you move past the trauma. Now, you'll never forget, but to
No.
help you move past. But I love that. Honor yourself because you survived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just hit me too that even if somebody is watching this and you're
Yes.
currently going through something of abuse or trauma, I still want you to say that I honor me every single
Yes.
day, every day that you have survived, every situation that you have
Yes.
survived during that day, going to work, still trying to put on a face, being there for your kids. I still want you to say, I honor me, because you need to honor yourself even through the process. When you come on
Yes.
the other side, but while you're going
Yes.
through it, I feel like had I had certain, and you mentioned this, you had a great support system in your mom, and I think that's what I honor me is also about the community, is having the
Yes.
right support
Wow.
system.
Yes, that is so true. Um, that is so important. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can, I tend to think I may not, I'm sure other people feel this way, but I tend to think, I'm a very strong person.
yeah,
I can do things on my own, but
yes,
it is extremely important to have a support system.
yeah,
It is.
mm-hmm.
And let me just say this. There's a difference between having people who want to know your business and want to
Listen,
tell you what to do, how to do it, how they would do it. That's different than having a support system. It's very different. So if you're out there, if you're in a like Deborah said, and you're in an abusive relationship, find a support system,
yes,
someone who you can talk to, that doesn't judge you, that's non-judgmental, and that will support you in whatever you need to do.
yeah.
And again, I love that every day that you're surviving, say I honor me, because that's
Listen,
important.
listen. I remember vividly, and then I'm gonna get on to some more questions. But I remember vividly in certain situations in my life where I literally had to have self talk to get through
Yes.
that
Oh,
moment,
oh yes.
to get
Yes.
through the moment. And so what I want is during those self-talk moments, either in these abusive situations or after you survive, say I honor me. I'm telling you, when you guys say it and say it out loud and
Yes.
affirm, say these affirmations, it really begins to change something in you. It
Yes.
really does. And so I
Yes.
want you to start saying it out loud. I honor me. I got up today. I honor me.
Yes.
I survived this situation. I honor me. Just keep saying it and watch it really start to change you from the inside. I really
Yes.
do. I really
Yes.
do believe that. So let's talk about ways in which you honor yourself by taking care of yourself. Tell me how you honor yourself by taking care of yourself now.
So, there's a few things that I do. Some will probably make you laugh, but it's some things that I do, and I think we should have humor, and
Absolutely.
we should do things. I mean, I just feel that there are so many things that people, feel like, oh, people are going to think that's so stupid, or,
Mhm.
I don't want to tell anybody that I do this, or I just, we have to move past what people think. That's first and foremost.
Yes.
But some of the things that I do, and we talked about this, is journaling. My oldest daughter, Crystal, shared with me years ago. Crystal is an avid reader. She loves to read. She's my creative daughter. She's an artist. She's a photographer. But she started journaling a long time ago, and she said how it helped her. And I have found, Deborah, that it is a saving grace for me.
Yeah.
You said something earlier about talking to yourself. I think that's the way I talk to myself.
Yes.
Now, I do
Yes.
talk to myself. I do.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
walk through the house and I will talk to myself.
Yes.
But I think that is an effective way for me to get something out, an
Yes.
emotion, something that I'm dealing with, something that I need to say. And I, to be honest, I don't want to say to anyone else.
Yes.
I will journal. I have books. I have my notebook right here, but I have other books that's in my drawer, my nightstand. And I will just pick it up and they're full of just me writing, writing,
Yeah.
writing. I can recall being in California with the girls and everyone was asleep, and um, I started to feel like that depression coming on, and I'm like, I just started writing, and it's so effective for me. I'm not sure, it may not work. Everyone else, people have their own thing, that you can do in order to get you through those moments. But for me, it's if you write it out, I feel like I'm
Yeah.
facing it when I actually put pen to paper. So journaling
Yeah.
is one thing. I also I share this with you, and I know this may seem crazy to some, but I love um, looking at homes. I think it's just such a way for me to escape. I
Yeah.
know people love to read books. I think after going to school for so many years, I just burned
Mm-hmm.
myself out from reading. But I love looking at homes. It's kind of a way of escape. Um, and those are really things that I've learned, especially the journaling. I'm gonna
Yeah.
emphasize that because that
Yes.
is very important for me now in my life, especially at this time in my life. It has truly helped me. It really
So I
has.
want to say a couple of things about the journaling. I think journaling is very important, and I think sometimes people might feel a little intimidated about journaling. If people want prompts, send me a DM, because I think sometimes people don't know what they should talk about, if or what they should journal about, and sometimes prompts help. But sometimes you just, if you are an avid journal person, you just start writing whatever comes
Yes,
to you. But sometimes
exactly.
people want a prompt. So sometimes prompts help to get your mind going, to start journaling. But I think that that is a key thing to honor yourself, because a lot of times what you're able to journal out and put on paper kind of helps save, lashing out or saying the wrong thing, or, responding from a place because you're just overwhelmed,
Right.
or you feel depressed or you feel anxious. So journaling helps you get some of that out. And
Yes.
so I feel like it's a huge way to honor yourself by journaling. And I was going to also recommend too, if you're not somebody that likes to journal, record yourself, record,
Yes.
voice notes, and record what you're going through. But I love the journaling because I've done journaling, and I've actually read back through some of my old journals and
Hmm.
see where I've come from, and
Yes.
see where I was and how my thinking was and what I was saying to myself and what I was feeling. And then, if I look back at some of those even today, I'd be like, wow, I have grown
Yes.
so much. I have evolved so much. I know so much, you know, things are so different now.
Yep.
So that it's another way to also honor yourself and acknowledge your growth,
Yes.
uh,
It is.
by reading your journals. And I love that you look at homes. I think that sometimes we get so bogged down with work and our careers and life that we're always so used to doing things that take so much brain power,
Yes.
and are constantly draining to us. So I think one of my nephew's sons said it a few weeks ago, like, take breaks. Like, they get on games because that's what they like to do, but
Hmm.
do stuff that does not take like a lot of brain power, but
Right.
you enjoy it. And I do too. I love going to look at homes. I love, we watch, HGTV is always on, but
Hmm.
it's not something that requires me to do a lot. It's just fun. It's
Yes.
just fun. It's
Yeah.
fun. It's relaxing. So do those things. My god sister Karen had said it a few weeks ago. She likes to go to concerts, and is starting to get back into that. If that's
Hmm.
what you enjoy, do
Yes.
those things that don't take brain power, that you just enjoy, and that helps you to honor yourself. So yeah,
I,
I
I
love
think
it.
I love that. Taking time out. And another thing that I like to do, I told you that I used to do a long time ago, and I just recently started doing it again. And it, like you said, it doesn't take brain power. However, it requires like strategic moves. And so it kind of keeps my brain flowing in a positive way. I play solitaire on my phone.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
I find myself playing it like for hours. Like I'll just
Mhm.
another game, and it allows me to be like, okay, think like, okay, strategically moving. So I feel like I'm getting something from it. I think you said something, whatever it is. I want to emphasize this to whoever is listening to us, whatever it is that allows you to honor yourself, whatever it is. I mean, it could be some people love going to the grocery store. Some
Yes.
people, I mean, Target is, I went to Target today, and once you get in
Oh,
Target,
yes.
you go for one thing and
Fun
you have 5 or 10
list check.
things in the basket. Whatever
Target's
it
my
is, I think that we should take the time out to enjoy ourselves. Like enjoy
yes.
being with yourself. And then when you're around others, you can enjoy others and they will enjoy you, because now you figured out, okay, I know who I am. I like me.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, some people really don't, they don't even like themselves because they've never taken the time out to see who they are. Like, what do I
Yes.
like?
Yes.
Like I said
Yeah.
earlier, digging deep and finding out, who am I? And that's something that I'm telling you now, if you're listening, find something that you love to do and be unapologetic about it and do it. Honor
Yeah.
yourself in those ways.
Yes. I think that I've said this before on my lives. I pick a word each year, and grace was my word. And then my birthday just was last week, and I'm continuing with grace because grace just resonates with me, and it's grace for me. And the word is for me. But the other two words are intentional and consistent.
Hmm.
And I think everything that you're mentioning, though, all of that falls into place, but you have to be intentional
Yes.
about doing things specifically for yourself to honor yourself, right? But then you also need to be consistent and not just do it once a month.
Right.
You got to do it way more. Like you have to be consistent, just like you consistently go to work, you consistently do other things. You have to be consistent and intentional about honoring yourself and
Yes.
doing the things. And yes, my god sister said going to concerts, whether it's R&B concert, I don't gospel, I don't care what it is. If what you enjoy is what you enjoy.
Yes.
So do that. But I also love that you were saying that people being around you. Yeah, I used to think that, hanging out with myself was a little weird. Again, because it goes back to if it wasn't really taught, or you come up with your own ideals of, spending time with yourself is like weird, or you're a loner, or there's something wrong with you, or you're psychotic, whatever the case, whatever you've come up with. I think that's why so many people don't do stuff on their own and don't really get to know who they are, because they've grown up in a family with a whole bunch of siblings, or they're always busy, always doing stuff, and they've never realized that being alone and being with yourself is a way to honor yourself.
Yes.
Taking yourself out,
Yes.
on a lunch date, a dinner date, going to the movies is okay, and it helps you discover and develop the confidence in you and what you like and your values and beliefs, that when you are around other people, they
Hmm.
can't shake you.
Exactly.
You either get with me for
Yes.
me and honor
Yes.
me because I honor me, or
Yes.
you get to moving. That
Yep.
that relationship isn't for me, or that friendship isn't for me,
Exactly.
whatever the case is. But get so in love with yourself
Hmm.
and honor yourself that it just, people have no choice but to return it back to you.
Yes. I totally agree. When we lived in Buffalo, New York, everyone knew Lan and David. They call my
Mhm.
husband Dave, Lan and Dave, Lan and Dave. And I just told you my nickname, Lan. So everybody
Yeah,
knows
I
Lan.
love it. I love it. I was like, okay.
And we were together all the time. Oh,
Yeah.
we went everywhere together. And then I started, you know, I can go by myself, or he
Mhm.
can, he has his routine on the weekends, when he's not working. And I love it because it allows us to have that separate time And
Yes.
that's growth in your relationship where, okay, we know we love each other, we do a lot of things together, but you know what, now we need that time apart.
Mm-hmm.
um, every other Saturday when he's not working, he has a routine. He gets up early in the morning. He goes out and does whatever he needs to do, goes to the gym, and then like for me, I'll go to Target, I'll go grocery shopping for, whatever we're going to have for the, for dinner. But it's that time apart that helps us bond when we're,
Mm-hmm.
together again. And I had to learn it's okay that we're doing things separately. That's fine. I
Mm-hmm.
used to think, oh, we always have to be together. Oh no, if you
Mm-hmm.
went, if you go somewhere, I got to go with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that was horrible thinking. It was not a way to have a relationship, an effective relationship. And so now we have our separate times, our moments, and I think we're honoring ourselves by having that separate time and then coming back together. So it's just honoring yourself, your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's so many ways you can do that, but you have to find out what works for you, because what works for me may not work for you. But
Yes.
honor
Yes.
yourself in the way that's effective for you.
I love that. And I think that what you're saying is so real for many of us. And I think it stems from either being taught that you're supposed to do that in marriage, to honor your marriage, to honor your spouse, right? But again, it wasn't taught, honor yourself and do these things for yourself. Have that alone time for yourself. Do and that is a way of honoring yourself and your marriage. But
Yeah.
again, when it came to, for me, when it came to being taught certain things, it was and then I also created my own ideals based on some of the teaching, or based on relationships that I saw on what
Hmm.
that looked like. And
Yes.
of course, I felt like honoring my marriage was more important than honoring me, or that was a way of honoring me, right?
Right.
But was it really?
Right.
Was it
Is it
really?
really? Is that really? Um, and we're going to probably get flack because about this, but I agree with you. I agree that sometimes marriages are toxic and we don't even know it because we've been following other people's perspective of marriage,
Mm-hmm.
other people's thought process of how a marriage should be. And I'm guilty of that. I thought it should be this way, and we should do this, and he should do that, and I should do this. And
And I want to say, and all the while with that, we don't realize we're dishonoring ourselves, trying to be something that we're not, or trying
exactly.
to emulate something that is not for us to emulate, right? And
Right.
all the while we're breaking our necks, we're exhausted, we're doing this, doing, trying
Yeah.
to do what we think is what we're supposed to do, all the while dishonoring ourselves,
Yes. But I
sacrificing
think we're
ourselves.
honoring, sacrificing ourselves, tolerating what we really do not like, but we're tolerating it because we think this is the way it's supposed to be. And when we say honor, and I want people to understand, marriage it's two. I mean, it's one. It's no longer two. It's one.
Mm-hmm.
And those are conversations that you have to have with your spouse, and the relationship has to be mature enough
Mm-hmm.
to handle those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some people are not mature enough in their relationship to even handle a conversation about me honoring myself so that I can honor you.
Yes.
Um, it's just like somebody said, if I'm no good for myself, how am I going to be good to you or for you? And I want to say this to married couples, being married over 30 years, next month it'll be 31 years. Those conversations are necessary if you want to continue and you want your marriage to have longevity. At some point you will have those difficult conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. And it reminded me of what we talked about, the scripture about love your neighbor as yourself. But
Yes.
we get caught in the teaching usually is the loving your neighbor part.
Right.
The lack of teaching and understanding is as yourself.
Yourself.
So there needs to be a huge focus on what loving me looks like, what
Yes.
honoring me looks like, before the expectation should have ever been put on me to honor somebody else, to love
Yes.
somebody else, to, you know what I mean, when it comes to
Yes.
relationships. Like, that part is the core of what we've got to get an understanding of, and get back to that. I have to love myself. I
Yes.
have to honor myself before it can really be sustainable in relationships.
Exactly. And in any relationship,
Any
I
relationship.
I can recall growing up in church, and that scripture, like we talked about, no one talked about the as yourself. Um it was always the neighbor, and then I saw people who were mean and evil and
Mm,
treated people. I mean,
yes.
I'm like, how are you like treating people so bad? Like, and this, it's because they didn't love themselves.
Hmm.
You don't know how to love other people. That's why it says, as you love yourself. Okay, but no one taught us how to love ourselves. So then
Hmm.
we actually treated people like we were treating ourselves, and how we felt really on the inside.
Hmm.
We really displayed and projected our inner feelings onto other people.
Hmm.
And I saw that growing up, and it was
Yeah.
horrible. It was
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah. And I think we kind of tapped in on this too, about even control, right?
Yes.
And people, the level of control, or, when you have those people, like you said, that you're around, and you see them treating people a certain way, or acting a certain way, or in certain positions as supervisors or whatever in the church even, and they abuse those positions, or do, or treat people a certain way, because that's the only level of control, because they haven't learned how to honor themselves. And
Exactly.
so they just dishonor everybody else, and they
Yes.
just let this spew out, because that's the only level of control, because they haven't learned how to do the inner work to
Right.
realize, no, I can control the honor, right?
Yes.
Control and stop the dishonor, disconnect, but it starts with me.
Yes. Yes. It really starts with the inside.
Yes.
Um, that song that we sing in church, we sang, we must love our Jesus from the inside out. It is
Hmm.
literally, it's the inner work that you must do. You must work on the inside before you can treat or love or have any relationship with anyone, because if not, you're going to just, that trauma, that uh, low self-esteem is just going to pour out on other people that you genuinely love, and you probably don't even mean to,
Hmm.
have those type of interactions with, or those encounters with people, but it just comes off because you have not done the work to find out what's wrong with me. Why am I not loving myself? Why
Yeah.
am I not tapping into who I really am, to figure out how to honor myself? And so that when I learn to honor myself, I can be a more pleasant person around other people. I mean, it's just, I can go so deep into that, but
Yeah. And that's good, because again, we've got to change this dynamic, and this mindset, and this thinking that it's selfish to love yourself first. And I
yes,
think that that's a part of the core and the root of the difficulty that we see, and we see it play out in people even understanding what honor is and how to honor themselves, because it has been taught or has been told to them that that's selfish, it's inconsiderate, you're all about you. I should be, at some point I have to be, so I can learn how to give that to somebody else.
yes,
But I think that that's where, for me, I mean, hearing the word selfish is really a trigger for me, because I don't consider myself a selfish person. But I think that when stuff like that is told, then you start to, in the inside, feel like, oh, I can't love myself, or I can't honor myself, I can't do this, I can't say that, oh girl, you look beautiful today in the mirror when I see myself, because then I have this thinking of somebody that's already told me that that's selfish for me to say that, or that's conceited for me to say that. It is
mhm,
not
it's
selfish.
not.
And I want you all in this community to disconnect that and break
Yes,
that thinking that it
please.
is selfish to honor yourself, because it is not
No,
selfish to love yourself first.
no,
It's
it
not.
is not. It is not. And sometimes people are just, like you said, it's been taught. And the
Yes.
mindset you need to, and it'll take time, because sometimes when it's ingrained into your thought process, it takes time for you to shift and move away from that thinking that
Yes.
it's okay. I'm okay loving Yolanda. I'm okay being happy with me. Am I perfect? No. No, by no means am I perfect. Do I have a long way to go? Yes. But I love where I am now. Um,
Yes.
I love who I am now. I was sharing with you, and I know we're almost at time, um, 2021, being in a depression. I never thought me, Yolanda, depressed,
Hmm.
I never thought that would happen to me.
Hmm.
But really, really, I mean, I remember, talking to people, oh, medication and, therapy, and until it happens. And I truly believe that God will allow us to go through things so that we can connect with other people.
Yes.
That
Yes.
when people, if we have a ministry and a call in our lives, whatever that may look like for you, that you have to go through those things, so when you're encountering people, you can meet them where they are.
Yes.
um, I had family members who tell me that they had been through trauma and went through depression, and I'm like, oh, medication, and I don't want to take
Hmm.
any medication. And I remember a family member saying, I have to take medication. Well, guess what? I was prescribed medication
Hmm. Hmm.
because I went through a deep, dark, I was in a hole.
Yeah.
I literally thought that I would never climb out of it. Um, there were two things that happened to me in 2021, and pretty much no one really knows but my immediate family, that took me to a dark place.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember watching television, and there was something on television. I remember David was sitting at the table eating, and it was like something on television about depression, and I just blurted it out. I'm depressed. And David just stopped, and he looked at me, and he said, why didn't you tell me? And I
Hmm.
said, I couldn't tell anybody. I didn't even know how to deal with this, what was happening to me. Um, it was just so heavy. I'm trying to explain it. And for those of you out there who are dealing with depression or have dealt with depression, you understand
Hmm.
it's a weight. It's like somebody's pushing you down, and you're going deeper and deeper into a black hole, and you don't know how to get out of it. There was a shame attached
Mm.
to my depression. There was a professional, now something professional in my professional life happened to me that was not my fault, but I internalized it
Yeah.
as if it was my fault.
Hmm.
Why did I say that? Maybe if I didn't say this, that wouldn't have happened.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then something happened to me, and it's going to sound crazy. Something happened to me at a church service
Hmm.
that took me, I could not, I was saying to myself, oh my God, that was horrible. I did terrible. Like, this is crazy. Like, oh my God, me, I wasn't supposed to, like, I wasn't supposed to be that bad. I was supposed to be the one who, tried to do it, because we want to be perfect, in the eyes of other people.
Yeah.
And because we want to be perfect and put on that persona and that face all the time, it took me, Deveray, to a place that I thought I would never, ever, ever, ever go to. And
Hmm.
I was like, my family member had to call my doctor. I'm on the phone, we were teleconferencing, that teledoc, and I'm crying because I don't know how to deal with this, what to do, how do I move on? So if you're dealing with that, um, trust me, please, please, please. I get emotional every time I talk about it, because sometimes it takes me back, and I have to do the work to not get back into that place, because I had to do some work.
Yeah.
I really, really had to do the work to get out of it. And if you are dealing with it, trust me, you're not alone. You are not alone. We've been taught to shout, just run around the church. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Well, it wasn't okay for me.
Yeah, that's real.
It wasn't okay.
Hmm.
And so if you're dealing with it, and one way to honor yourself, like Deborah said, please do this on a daily basis. Even if you're dealing with depression right now, if you're in that dark place, just get up every morning if you can make it and say, I honor me.
Yeah.
If you can just utter those words out of your mouth, even if you can't write it, take a pen and
Yes.
just,
Yes.
I honor me.
Yes.
I honor me. Find a way to honor yourself, even in the moment, even in the depression.
Yes. Yes.
You mentioned grace. I had to learn to give myself grace for the mistake that I thought I made.
Hmm.
Others, my family was like, "Are you kidding? What?" When I
Hmm.
told them why I felt, this heaviness and I was in this dark place, you know, from the outside, it's like, "What? You shouldn't be depressed." It's just like somebody saying, "Oh, get over it. You'll be fine." You're not
Yes.
fine.
Yes.
They
Yes.
can't see inside of what's going on the inside. But I'm telling you, and I say this, I don't want to, I know we have to go, but I want to say this. Please
Fine.
find a way to say every morning.
Yes.
Again, if you have to write it, if you have to just speak it, if you have to, I don't know what you have to do, but say, I honor me, and it will help you.
Yeah.
It will take time, trust me. I'm not saying do not go to therapy. Yes, if you need
Hmm.
therapy, go to therapy. If
Hmm.
you need medication, if that's what you need, I got the medication, and in all, I just want to say, in all fairness, I did not take the medication because I read side effects, and I know
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
side effects may not, interfere. Like it may not bother some people, and I saw this, and I'm like, I don't think so. So it took work. Oh my God, it took work and finding a way to love myself out of it.
Yeah. Um, I know our time is, but I want to say this, and we'll talk offline because I might need to have you come back next week so we can finish this. But um, you said so much, and I appreciate, and again, I honor you for your vulnerability and your transparency and sharing with the community, because that's what I honor me is about. You're not alone, and you're, as much as we get into this space where we think we're the only ones that deal with anxiety, depression, seasonal depression, birthday depression. I went live last week to talk about that. We're not. And the more we become transparent and tell our testimonies and talk about what we experience, and then you see us, then you see that we survive, the more it's going to help you to realize you can be there too. And there is so much beautiful things ahead on the other side, and it is a
Yes,
journey.
yes,
But like you said, I love that you had a family member that was able to talk to you about their experience, because then it helped you to not feel alone. It helped
yes,
you not feel like you were crazy. It helped you to realize that, you know, that's my way of saying I need help. But I appreciate them for being vulnerable and open and honest and telling you about their experience. So then
yes,
you don't feel like you're on this journey by yourself, because there's enough that comes with depression. You
yes,
said the shame, the guilt, and all that stuff. So I think that is so crucial, like I said earlier, about your village and having the right support system and community. Again, I am on here. There's more things in the works for I Honor Me. But if you are somebody that needs a life coach, if you are somebody that just needs somebody to talk to, please reach out, because you're not on this journey alone. Please
right.
send me a message, whatever you have to do, because that's how we survive. That's how
Yes,
we're going to get through this. And this is the I Honor Me community, because your story, I know it's touched me, and it's helped me. And I think one of the things we talked about the other day was you blurting out saying, I'm depressed. You have been feeling all this stuff, and all these, feeling this heaviness and every other symptom that you might have felt, but there, you didn't identify it and give it a name. And Dr. Gunn, who was on a few weeks ago, made a post yesterday that you've got to give it a name.
Yes.
It's not you saying that you're accepting and this is a life sentence and that's what it is. But
Right.
once you give something a name, then you have the ability to then deal with it and figure out
Yes.
the next steps you need to take in order to manage whatever
So
you
true.
have going on. And there is no shame. We have
No.
to dispel the shame. We have to dispel the guilt of depression, of anxiety, whatever comes to it. Like it's okay. And there is
Yes.
nothing wrong with us. That does not mean I'm a bad person. I'm a bad wife. I'm a bad mom. I'm a bad sister, whatever the case is. But it's so imperative that we give it a name,
Yes.
because when you come into the knowledge, you walk therein. So if you give it a name, then you can then take the steps. If it is going to therapy, if it is getting on medication, if it is connecting with the right people so you have the right community and the right support system,
Right.
um, do it. So
Do
giving
it.
it a name is so imperative. And I just want to say this too, that um, I'm the type of person, like she said, write it down. I have stuff coming, guys, but write down, I honor me. That's why I say the affirmations all the time, because I'm telling you, saying it makes such a difference. But I'm going to go live eventually about this, but I'm the type of person that likes jewelry and things that I can look at that's inspirational. So
Mm.
I honor me. We are launching our merch soon, and I wear it now. I have an I honor me necklace. I have a bracelet. But when I tell you, like you said, if you can't say it, or if you need a visual and you need to see it,
Yes.
that's behind the jewelry for me.
Awesome. Love that. Love it. Love
because
it.
because I have had times in my life where I have struggled, and I've literally bought inspirational jewelry. One of the bracelets I have upstairs, it says be fearless, and I wore it every day to work. Why? Because I had so much fear and anxiety that would
Hmm.
strict me as soon as I walked into the ER, because I didn't know what was going to happen.
Hmm.
But like she said, when you start to say it, and no matter what you're dealing with, whatever you survive, what's coming, what was happened, just say it, write it down, get the merch, whatever, to help you to establish, and a reminder. It's a huge reminder.
Yes.
Every time I see my jewelry, I say it. I honor me. That's
Yes.
it. And so give it a name. Identify whatever it is. If it's anxiety, if it's depression, if it's low self-esteem, low self-worth, um,
Yes.
you don't have confidence, you don't know who you are, give it a name, and then
Yes.
we can do the work after that.
Yes, exactly. You must, it's just like an addict. In order for
Yes,
you to start healing, and you must give it a name. You must
yes,
say, I'm an addict and I need help. I have
yes,
low self-esteem. I need help. I'm depressed. I need help. Whatever it
yes.
is, if you give it a name, that's a start.
That's the
That's
start.
a start. I mean,
Yes,
saying I'm depressed, like really just blurting it out and saying
yes,
it
yeah,
to David was, it was like, oh my God, now I can start to work. I can talk to him about it. And I started like saying things to him and telling him things. And, that was, it didn't, get me out of the depression, but it was a
it was a
start.
start. It
It
was the
was a
start.
start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the best part in doing that is a form of honoring yourself.
Yes.
Giving it a name and then doing the work, and just identifying it, that's honoring yourself. That's saying, you know
Yes.
what, this is where I am. This is what I'm feeling. And the first step is honoring myself by giving it a name. And now I'm going to start the journey of doing the work to deal with whatever this is.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Man.
This is awesome.
Yes,
This is
this has
amazing.
been wonderful. So, like I said, we will be talking, because I'm gonna see if I can get you. Because there's more stuff for us to discuss. So we might
Yes.
have to do a part two next week. But um, I want you to leave 3 skills for the I Honor Me community. You mentioned it earlier, so if it's the same ones, that's fine. Just mention it again for me. 3 skills that the community can do to start to practice I Honor Me on a consistent basis.
Awesome. So one of the things that I had to learn, and and I learned this I had to learn this out of a bad situation, setting boundaries.
Yes.
It's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to say no. It's okay to not feel guilty when you are separating yourselves from people who have doesn't that are toxic. It's okay.
Yes.
Can I just say this? And I want people to know this, okay? And it's sad, but I mean, I'm not the first and will not be the last. Sometimes that means your family members.
Say that again.
Sometimes that means your family members.
It does.
So set boundaries. Another
Mm-hmm.
thing that I have, and I know this may sound cliche, but it works for me. I have a prayer life where the way we're conversing right now is the way I talk to God.
Yeah. Yes.
And allow him to talk to me. If that, I mean, whatever, if it works for you, if it doesn't, I'm telling you what works for me. Having that relationship, being still enough to listen to him.
Yes.
That's the relationship that I have. So, a prayer life, an effective prayer life, setting boundaries, and another like skill, practical, something practical that you can do on a daily basis is, again, something that we do in our house a lot. Find a reason or find something that will make you laugh.
Yes. I love
We
it.
have, I mean, I'm telling you, there's not a day that goes by in this house that there's not laughter. Something is funny, whether it's with our dogs or something, somebody said, or my husband's a jokester. Everybody who knows David, they know he's a jokester. But finding a way to laugh and
Yeah.
find humor in things, because
Yeah.
if you go through life like serious and everything has to be no, lighten up. Find a,
Yes. Yes.
find ways that, or find things that will give you humor and that laughter. So boundaries, my prayer life, and find a reason to smile.
Yes. I love it. I think those are very, very practical things that anybody can do. It doesn't cost you to do it. It
No.
costs you your honor if you don't practice things. But I
Exactly.
think these are all very incredible, encouraging things that the community can start to do to begin to honor themselves. So thank you again. As soon as we're going to talk about next week, because yes, as people that want to have part two, this has been absolutely amazing, and I know there's so much more that we had, we want to talk about concerning
Yes.
honors. So before we end this live, though, I want to do the I honor me affirmations, and then I will make a post, and I'll let you guys know about next week. So I'm going to say the I honor me affirmations, and then I'll have you repeat them after me.
Okay.
I honor my body, mind, and spirit.
I honor my body, my mind, and my spirit.
I honor my strengths and weaknesses.
Oh gosh, I honor my strengths and my weaknesses.
I honor my past, present, and future.
I honor my past, my present, and my future.
I honor my journey and my destination.
Wow, I honor my journey and my destination.
I honor me.
I honor me.
Yes, ma'am. So thank you all again for joining us. Miss Yolanda Taylor has been incredible. Again, I honor you and I appreciate you being on here. And then let's chat again next week. I honor community. I love you guys. Don't forget to like and follow the I Honor Me Facebook page. I think it went good tonight, going live from there. Then we also have the YouTube page, so you'll see that information in the comments. But you all have a beautiful night. Take care.
Thank you.